We have your whiteboard video today, and I'm going to talk about introducing you to track workouts and how it relates to form work in a few areas. First of all, we're going to talk a little bit about your headline and heel lines, hurdle lines, and your foot and hip lines. And we're going to give you a drill or a sequence of progressive workouts that you can incorporate into a training session next time you're at the track. And no better place to work on your form deliberatively than at the track. So the first thing we're going to talk about is your headline. The headline is effectively how the rest of your body follows. If your head is flexed, you're going to round your shoulders, you're going to weight yourself forward. If you're extended, you're going to arch your back, you're going to retract your shoulder blades, and it's also going to affect how you're going to progress forward. If your head's moved to the side laterally as you're running, that's also going to cause a counterbalance. Headline is very simple, but a technique that I don't know that a lot of people really focus on. And what we want you to do is we want you to keep your head neutral, ears right over your shoulders at all times. And a good tip is to act as if you're carrying a martini glass or a water bottle on top of your head when you're running. That would be your headline. So be able to deliberatively focus and emphasize that particular part of your running is very important, and the track can help you do that. The next area is the heel line. Heel line is accomplished at terminal stance, or just after you finish a stride and the toe begins to push off from the ground. What you want is you want your heel to track right straight back and through the back of your knee. That also helps with linear movements and tracking movements as you're moving forward. And that would be your heel line. I've developed a drill that helps this, and it's using small hurdles that are about 6 to 8 inches high. And you place these hurdles, small plastic hurdles, about 3 or 4 feet apart. And what happens is as you run across them, you're caused to improve your mechanics as you go over them. So the hurdle actually alerts you to go over these symmetrically and eliminates asymmetrical movements from the left and the right side. So it's a very, very useful tool. So that would be the heel line and the hurdle drill. And again, those are with very small elevated 6-8 inch hurdles, and they're plastic, and you can set them across. They're not very expensive, or you can devise something on your own. But it's very, very useful to develop heel line symmetry and mechanics that way. The last one we're going to talk about is your foot and hip line, foot placement, foot and hip lines. And what we're combining here is how you place your foot on the ground at stance. So when you're making a stride and your foot hits the ground, what I like to see is a mid to 4 foot stance. Not recommending a heel first. I believe that causes what's known as applied braking force. And so what we want you to do is to try to have more of a midsole plant so that your center of mass, your hips, are right over your foot, your heel, your hip lines, your knee, your ankle, your shoulders, and your ears are all in alignment at foot strike. So when that foot hits the ground, everything's in a vertical or just slightly ahead of vertical line. So that would be your foot placement. What we're talking about hip lines is to make sure at stance that your hip doesn't drop or rock. And in other videos that we've talked about, it's important to have very strong muscles of the torso to sustain and to hold the pelvis. And that's where exercises for the transverse, quadratus laborum, lower back exercises will help you maintain those hip lines. So let's take these 3 and 4 areas and make a workout for you. Let's go this way. The first set is we're going to do 4 repetitions of 50 meters at each one of these areas. So we're going to do head line for 50, heel line for 50, foot placement line for 50, and hip lines for 50. So that would be 4 times 50 meters, or 200 meters, plus 200 meters, incorporating all of the above. So you could do 4 repetitions, 50 meters of each of those 4 areas, just focusing deliberatively on each one of those elements, and then 200 meters incorporating all of them. You'd want to just do these at a zone 2, moderate intensity. The next set would be 6 times 100 meters of each of these 4 elements, the head, heel, foot, and hip line, plus 400 meters all at zone 2. So again, it gives you another great opportunity to do very deliberate practice for 100 meters of each of these isolated, and then 400 meters all. Lastly, we're going to go 2 repetitions of 200 meters, head line, heel line, foot, and hip lines, plus another 400 meters all at zone 2. So there's a very quick, easy, intensities relatively moderate exercise workout for you that should help you make every movement better than the last one you're running. I'm Coach Mark Evans, and thanks for watching the Online Learning Center.